Do subscribe to Ekeeda channel and press bell icon to get updates about latest engineering, HSC and IIT JEE main and advanced videos.
Hello friends, in this video we will study some features of 8051 microcontroller. So let us start with our topic. The 8051 microcontroller, it is the most famous general purpose microcontroller designed by Intel in 1981, and this microcontroller, it is a 40-pin IC. It has a 40-pin IC, dual inline package IC, and it operates at plus 5 volts power supply. So if we talk about features of 8051, now, in the case of microcontrollers, there are two types of memory, program memory and the data memory. So this 8051 microcontroller, it has 64 kilobytes of on-chip program memory. 64 kilobytes, or we can say 4096 bytes. "64 kilobytes on-chip program memory" means that this memory is also available on the same chip on which the microcontroller is present. Also, it has 128 bytes of on-chip data memory. So this microcontroller, it will have program memory and data memory present on the same chip, and program memory is of 64 kilobytes and data memory is of 128 bytes. Now 8051 microcontroller, it has 4 register banks from bank 0 to bank 3, and these register banks, they can be used as there are multi functions for these banks. So we can say that 8051, it has 4 register banks. Bank 0 to bank 3. Okay. Next feature is it has 128 user-defined software flags. Flags are used to indicate the conditions of the internal conditions of the registers. So if we want to use these flags, we have, in the case of 8051, we have 128 user-defined software flags. So user can define these flags in the case of in the programs, and they can be used to know the conditions of the internal registers. Now for memory, we have various addresses. Whenever we want to address or use the memory, we will have to address the memory locations. So in 8051, we have 64 kilobytes of each the program and external RAM addressability. Means 64 kilobytes of the program memory and the external RAM memory, they can be addressed. We have addresses for the memory locations. Now this addressability of the memory, it can be either bit addressability or byte addressability. Okay, so we can say that in the 8051 we have bit addressability also and byte addressability also. In microcontroller, we have the crystal, and this crystal provide the clock frequency to the microcontrollers. So in 8051, we have 12 megahertz crystal, and this crystal will provide the clock frequency, and this clock frequency or clock pulses, they are used in the instruction cycles. So because here we are using the crystal which is of a very high frequency, 12 megahertz, so it will provide the instruction cycle of 1 microsecond. This means that the speed of execution of the instructions, it is very fast in 8051 microcontroller, because it is taking only 1 microsecond to execute the instruction. Now, because we are having the 40 pins of the 8051, so out of those 40 pins, we have 32 bidirectional input-output pins, which are organized as the 4 8-bit ports or the 4 register banks that I have told earlier. So these banks, they can be used as an input-output ports also, and because they are acting as input line also and output line also, so they are bidirectional. So out of the 40 pins, we have the 32 pins which are the bidirectional input output ports. Now this microcontrollers, they can be used for serial communication, and for that we use the serial ports. So here the serial ports in 8051, they can be used in multiple modes, and also they are very high speed programmable ports. We can program these ports in different kinds of modes, and also there are various modes in which they can be operated. So the serial ports, they can be operated in multiple modes and they are programmable. Talking about the timers and the counters, in 8051 we have two multiple mode 16-bit timers and counters. These timers and counters, they can be operated in various types of modes also. So timers and counters, there are two timers and counters, and they are 16-bit, and they can be operated in various modes. Now talking about the interrupts, we have different interrupts for 8051, and these interrupts, they are divided into various priorities, and these priority levels, there are two priority levels in the 8051. So we can say that we are having two level prioritized interrupt structure. We have various interrupts, and these interrupts, they are divided into priority levels. Now in the memory, we have the stack which is used for temporary storage. So in 8051, there is a full depth stack for the subroutine, return linkage and data storage. So for these stack, they can be used for data storage also, and for writing the subroutines. Subroutines are the short programs which are written at a different memory location other than the main program. So that memory location will be the stack where these subroutines and the temporary data, it can be stored. Now the arithmetic and logical operations performed by the microcontroller, they can be in the binary notation or in the decimal notation. So we have it is compatible with the binary arithmetic also and decimal arithmetic also. Now, as I have said that in microcontrollers we have different flags, and these flags, they indicate about the internal conditions of the operations, that after operating the arithmetic and logical operations, what kind of condition is achieved in the internal registers. So talking about the flags, we have sign flag, overflow flag, and parity flag in the case of 8051. So we can say that 8051, it can detect the sign, overflow, and the parity conditions also. So as I've said that the speed of processing of the 8051, it is very fast because it is having the crystal frequency as 12 megahertz, and only 1 microsecond is taken in instruction cycle. So if we want to perform the multiplication and division in 8051, it can be completed in 4 microseconds. Okay, so very less time is taken to complete the task of multiplication and division. When microcontrollers 8051, it is used for the control applications, it has an integrated Boolean processor which can be used for the control applications. And when we are using the microcontrollers with the microprocessors, so this 8051, it is compatible with all the microprocessor software with the existing 8084 software. So these are some of the features of the 8051 microcontroller. Main features are that it has 64 kilobytes of program memory, on-chip program memory, and 128 bytes of on-chip data memory. 40-pin IC is there, operates at 5 volts per supply, and it has 4 register banks, and these register banks, they can be operated as ports, as an input-output ports. Okay, and it has two 16-bit timers and counters. Okay, it has interrupts also, which are divided into 2 priority levels. So these are the features of the 8051 microcontroller. So I hope that this topic is clear to you. Thank you.